this is Adam Bernard with AutoPerspectives, and we are back for another news roundup to talk about some of the more interesting things that happened in the auto industry over the past week. We will start with something big, literally very big, the next generation Chevrolet Silverado. Now, why is a Silverado important to General Motors? Well, as bank robber Willie Sutton once said, that's where the money is. Although it turns out he didn't actually say that. It was kind of a quote made up by a journalist, but it still kind of applies in this area. This is the big moneymaker for General Motors. Now, GM began teasing the next generation Silverado a few months ago, and they had already released information on the brand new small block V8, which is kind of the core powertrain here. The production vehicle is just about everything you'd expect. It's very much an evolutionary makeover. You're not going to mistake this for anything else, and it does bear a strong resemblance to last year's Silverado. And to be honest, nothing really groundbreaking in terms of features or technology, which, to be honest, might be enough for this market. You do get a full range of trim options. Choice has always been a big part of the Silverado's go-to-market strategy. One thing missing from the trim list is a street truck. Ram just released the Rumblebee. Ford has the F-150 Lobo. While there's an aggressive off-road truck, there's nothing really kind of low and sporty that you take on the street in the vein of the old Silverado SS. Although it sounds like a lot of the parts are actually on the shelf. In addition, there is a ZR2 aggressive off-road variant, but unlike the Ram RHO and TRX, the Ford Raptor, the ZR2 does not get a powertrain upgrade. It's the same engine you get on all the other Silverados. Now, you do get best-in-class standard torque, you get the most powerful naturally aspirated V8, you get 10-speed automatics for everyone, and a segment-unique light-duty diesel option. So some good news on the powertrain front. Unfortunately, it's also the only entry in this segment without any electrified internal combustion option. Ford and Toyota both offer turbo V6 hybrids. Ram has the upcoming 1500 EREV. And right now, every Silverado engine is just plain old, not even a mild hybrid available. The four-cylinder engine retains as the base model. Most competitors offer a V6 as the base engine. Some people don't like the sound of a four-cylinder engine or the feel of a four-cylinder engine. So if that turns you off, that's still going to turn you off in this Silverado as well. There are implications for NVH as well as performance while towing, if you read some of the reviews of the current Silverado four-cylinder turbo. You also get a pretty traditional rear suspension. Ram kind of got out in front with coil springs and an air suspension availability. And if you read the reviews, the Silverado ride currently is a little rougher than the Ram, and that's probably not going to be that different with this new truck either. Inside, every truck gets the same 12.2-inch digital IP cluster and the biggest in-class 16.3-inch center touchscreen. So for a change, if you buy an entry-level Silverado, you don't get cheaped out from an instrumentation standpoint. And there is a new optional passenger side display, which was started by Ram, so Silverado's catching up, and they now are ahead of Ford and Toyota in that area. You do get a multi-flex center console, which is enabled by the column shifter, which is standard on all the Silverados. If you prefer a console shifter, you're unfortunately out of luck. You do get Super Cruise, automated driving available. Super Cruise is very competent. And you get segment-unique hands-free trailering. So if you are one of those people that likes to carry things with your Silverado and you've got Super Cruise, you are in luck. That gives you a little extra functionality over what Ram and Ford offer, and Toyota isn't even in the game with any kind of hands-free capability on the Tundra. Now, if you recall, GM stated last fall it was phasing smartphone mirroring out of their ICE vehicles as well as their EVs. But you can actually rest easy with the new Silverado. It appears to come with both wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. And to be honest, unless GM decides to swap out the electrical architecture at the truck's mid-cycle update, it may retain this capability for the rest of its life cycle. So if you're worried about losing your, especially your CarPlay, you appear to be in luck. There are still some details to be revealed here. We don't know the payload and towing numbers, but I wouldn't expect any big surprises. The biggest unknown is whether the lack of a gas-electric hybrid will prove to be problematic. But with the next-gen F-150, Ram 1500, and Tundra 3 to 4 years away from launch, the new GM trucks appear to be positioned to at least hold their market share. Definitely good news for those watching the company's cash flow. From here, we will go from off-road to the track with the first electric BMW M model. This is the concept new class that previews the new high-performance variant of the recently unveiled i3. which is a electric counterpart to the 3 Series sedan. Unclear if it's going to be called iM3 or M3 Electric or i3M, but whatever it's going to be called, it will launch next year. This concept was unveiled at Le Mans, and we don't expect it to differ significantly from the production version. Up front, you see the unique yellow lighting elements. Those will become a new design cue for electric M vehicles and internal combustion M vehicles as well, and the large hood vents, which you don't see on the standard i3. It's also got what they call a trimaran style front bumper, which they claim was inspired by high-speed sailing boats. You'll also note on either side of the front fascia the cube-shaped traffic lights. Now, while you might expect carbon fiber to be used extensively here in this vehicle, carbon fiber is according to BMW, difficult to recycle. So a lot of the body panels are made from natural fibers. You've got a nice integrated ducktail spoiler out back. The flared wheel arches clearly point to the performance potential here of this vehicle. And speaking of which, it's expected that this vehicle will feature 4 motors, putting out somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,000 horsepower. And it'll feature the new M Dynamic Performance Control, which optimizes torque vectoring capability. It's likely to carry over the current 100 kilowatt-hour battery, probably optimized for high performance, and the 800-volt electrical architecture that we see on the i3. The interior should look familiar. It is very similar to what's already in market. You do get extra graphics, unique seats, and a steering wheel. You'll note the red shift paddles on the steering wheel itself. Those are reportedly tied to simulated gear shifts, so there's no transmission in this electric performance car, but BMW felt that having those simulated shifts, which we already have seen on the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, provide tactile and audio feedback to the driver. So this looks to be a pretty impressive vehicle. The early reports on the iX3, which share the same architecture, are already pretty good. So we'll wait until we get drive reports of the i3 a little later this year, and then of course the i3M or iM3 will hit the market sometime next year. Now for something completely different, an electric retro van. Now, Morris Commercial, and you might remember Morris as in Morris Minor. Morris Commercial went out of business over 50 years ago, but they are back with a retro-inspired electric delivery van based on the original J-type van that Morris built from 1949 to 1961. Now, we'd seen a concept version of this a few years back, but it looks like the essential production version has been unveiled at the Everything Electric West event in the UK. Production of the Morris JE is start in Wales in 2027 in pilot form, with mass production in 2028. The body is made of recycled carbon fiber, which yes, apparently is doable, just difficult according to BMW, on an aluminum skateboard. And Morris is saying that there will be pickup, minibus, and camper variants to follow. Powering the JE is either a 60 or 83 kilowatt-hour battery, a range of up to 300 miles on the European cycle, so roughly 240 to 250 miles EPA equivalent, and a 10 to 80% charge in 10 minutes. That suggests that this is an 800-volt architecture. The motor is mounted in the back for traditional rear drive setup. Payload, 2,200 pounds. Cargo space, 212 cubic feet. There's not a lot of direct competitors on the market, but if you look at the VW ID Buzz Cargo, which is also a commercial van, and it's also kind of retro inspired, it's a little bigger. That has payload that's limited to 1,700 pounds and a cargo space of only 138 cubic feet. So it does look like the Morris is going to be a very capable vehicle. Morris says that 7,000 customers have expressed interest on the website. Now, we all know expressing interest on the website is not the same as actually putting money down to order it, but it's a start. But those customers are in Europe, North America, Australia, and New Zealand. So we haven't heard about any specific North American distribution plans yet. Starting price is around 69,000 pounds sterling. That compares to 60,000 pounds for the ID Buzz. So as I said, it's a little smaller and more expensive, but it is a more capable vehicle. So we'll see if Morris succeeds in getting this product off the ground when the pilot production starts next year. And finally, we'll head over to China, where once again, we have China getting into the big truck business. This is the Geely Galaxy Cruiser 700, taking aim at the Land Rover Defender, among others, with a boatload of technology. And it's based on the Galaxy Cruiser concept shown in Shanghai last year. This is the first off-road entry from Geely's mainstream brand, so it's not really a luxury vehicle. And it's the first off their new energy off-road architecture. So there's a fair amount of new hardware under the skin here. And speaking under the skin, this This is a plug-in hybrid putting out an astonishing 1,113 horsepower. It's courtesy of 2 motors in the back, 1 in the front, and of course an internal combustion engine. The drive shafts are linked with an industry-first fluid-coupled locking mechanism that adds automatic torque sharing functionality and improved responsiveness compared to other purely software-based solutions. You'll see there's also roof-mounted LiDAR, crab walking, an active hydraulic suspension, a tire blowout drive mode, a continuous automatic obstacle avoidance, and waiting depth of about 2.5 feet. So this vehicle walks the walk and talks the talk. It appears to be capable of everything it looks capable of doing. It has the in-house developed GVMC, the Geely Vehicle Motion Control, a dynamic control system that enables the vehicle to pass the Moose test at 80 kilometers an hour. You know, if you recall, the Moose test is what threw off the original smart mini car decades ago. And the idea is that you have to quickly drive out of the way of a moose that happens to walk into the road. The smart rolled, which was not good, but Geely says they can manage it with their new software here. The curb weight of the Galaxy Cruiser is 2,880 kilograms. That is notably lighter than vehicles like the Jetour G700 and the Yangwang U8, and they're also claiming a better power-to-weight ratio. We all know, obviously, plug-in hybrids, once you add battery and motors, that's going to weigh more, but Geely seems to have managed the mass. This vehicle will launch in China this year, with exports to follow next year. Again, not to North America yet, because we're not seeing the Chinese here, but we do expect to see it in Europe to take on Land Rover and other players in the segment, like the Toyota Land Cruiser. So overall, pretty impressive, and again, coming in with Geely's mainstream brand, so it should be pretty aggressively priced. That about wraps things up for this week in the news. If you like what you see and hear, please subscribe and share. Visit AutoPerspectives.net to check out the blog, and feel free to look me up on LinkedIn as well. Thanks very much. I'll see you back here next week. Bye-bye.